Hey y'all, what's going on? This is Jackie Marie of J. Marie Booklet. So today I am making a video on why you should have critical thinking skills. And you're like, what does that mean? Critical thinking skills is just basically the ability to analyze facts to form a judgment. Okay? So in a hospital, there are judgment calls being made every day, every hour of the day, 24 hours a day. There are judgment calls being made. So the first is they allow you to analyze information and form, reasonable judgments. So an example of that would be a triage nurse. So when a person comes to the ER, when they come to the hospital and they go through the ER, they're triaged. And basically that means if you come in and you have an upset stomach, but another person come in, they broke their leg, and then another person comes in and they were in a car accident, who goes first? That's where your critical thinking skills come in. So of course, the person that was in a car accident will go first. Well, it depends on what kind of car accident. If it was just, oh, my neck hurt a little bit, but if it was like a bad accident, that's different. A person who is complaining of chest pain, that's always look. You will always get admitted if you complain of chest pains, okay? Um, because your heart can stop, and then you have no oxygen pumping to your brain, and you can die. So that's where you analyze facts to form a judgment, and so that's where judgment calls are being made every day in the hospital. Judgment calls are being made on who should get treated first. So that's a good example of that. And then second, they help you solve problems efficiently. So I'm gonna give you another example. When I lived in an apartment, so I moved into my apartment and I needed renter's insurance because down here you have to have renter's insurance. Some places you don't have to, but some places, some states or cities, you must have renter's insurance. So where I moved into, I needed renter's insurance. So I literally moved in so fast. I said, I swear I think they ran my background check because they literally gave me the keys before I even filled out the application. Okay, like y'all know how money I got in my bank account because I had got an inheritance, so I had some money in there. And so I'm like, cause I ain't fill out the application yet, and they giving me the keys. Okay, I'm like, they must have ran it off, maybe my tag or something. But so I moved in, and I literally did move in fast. I moved in March of, I can't remember what year it was, but at that time I was doing so much overtime. When I say I was doing so much overtime, like February, March, it was crazy. When I say I was doing so much overtime, I literally had one day off, and that was my only day to move because I was working 5 12-hour shifts a week. Okay, I was getting that money. I was living in the hospital. I was getting that money, and I literally had one day off. It was like the beginning of March, and that's the day I moved in. So I moved in so fast that and they required you to have renter's insurance. So I just went with the company that they recommended. They had information in the office, so I just went with them. So I had it for like, I don't know, some years. I didn't care how much it cost. I had it for maybe about a year, and then all of a sudden got an email saying that, from the company that they would no longer be able to provide renter's insurance for whatever reason. And so, you need to get a new policy or whatever. So I literally got got the email, and so then I just logged, looked on my, well, actually I got the email, so then I went to my car insurance. So who I had my car insurance with, I went through them. So I had my car insurance and my renter's insurance through them, and you get a little discount. And so then after I did that, I went to the office because like once I got the documentation saying yes, gave my policy, my policy information, I went to the office to show them proof that I had it, and y'all, they were so blown away because when the other people in the complex had got that email saying that we would no longer service, this policy, they were calling the office because they ain't know what to do. They were like, well, what do I do? And they asking all these questions. I don't even know how many calls they got. Okay, I just know when I walked in there, and I said, oh yeah, here, I got the email about my policy and being canceled, so I went and got another one, and they were so amazed because I didn't call them. I knew exactly what to do. Like, I mean, the policy is canceling. Get another policy. Like, how hard is that? But it was hard for a lot of people. Okay, they did like. The fact is, you need a new policy, so you make that judgment. Okay, you go get you a new policy. Like, I didn't understand, and they were so. I mean, it was like this big old thing in the office. They was like, oh my god. Like, I think I gave it to the girl, and she was so shocked. She told the guy, like the manager, and he came out and, oh my God, yes, and this. I'm like, it's not that hard. The policy is canceling. Go get you another policy. But that's people. But people don't have critical thinking skills. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do. I mean, like, and I'm like, you go anywhere else and save money because that policy was more. I didn't care. I had an inheritance, so I didn't care how much it was. I had money in the bank. So, but I'm like, you go somewhere else and save money. Like, what are you talking about? Like, like, I don't know. But that's critical thinking skills, and it just helps you solve problems. That's what it does. But a lot of people, people always say, common sense ain't so common. It's not. And and I don't know if it's like the education system. I don't know if it's I don't want to be rude or anything, but I don't know if it's like people from other countries and they just they're not used to how we do things here in America, or just in general how things are done, because there are things we do here that they don't do in other countries. You know what I'm saying? Like, we pay taxes on a home. Over there, you buy the home and that's it. Or you build a home and then you live the rest of your life. You don't pay taxes, on the property. So there are a lot of things that go on in other countries that don't go on here. So people could not know what to do. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make sense to them. So in that case, yeah, that does make sense that they don't know what to do. But like everybody ain't from another country, Everybody ain't from another country, so that's no excuse. So I don't know what it is. And then third, they enable you to communicate and your ideals clearly and persuasively. Like, when you have critical thinking skills, you can you can analyze, and then you can verbalize just like that. It's like if A and B happens, and you can't do C, well then you do D. Do you understand? And like some people, they don't know if it has to be A, B, and then C. But sometimes it's not A, B, C. Sometimes A, B, D. Do you understand? A lot of people don't have that. But when you have critical thinking skills, you can analyze things, and then you can verbalize, well, no. So a lot of people, they go along with a lot of stuff because they don't they don't analyze it. So like me, I'm being honest. I'm one of those people that, and I tell people this. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna do something that's gonna get me in trouble. Like, do you understand? So like when people go along with stuff, I don't automatically go along with things. Do you understand? Because I analyze things. I think it through. Some people just go along with stuff. That's just their personality. And some people go along with stuff because they're afraid. So like with this situation that we got going on in this world, I didn't go along with it. I'm not going along with that because it don't make sense. Okay? Like, if you have critical thinking skills, you realize that this stuff don't make no sense. Okay? Like, everything that's happening don't make sense. You know? That's critical thinking skills. It don't make sense. Why, like, the analogy people use, okay, so I wear a mask to walk into a restaurant, but I don't wear a mask to eat. Like, sit down. Like, how does it doesn't make sense. That's critical thinking skills. Some people don't have it. And some people have it, but they just go along with it. Same thing when your boss tells you to do something that, because working in the hospital, I'm being honest when I say this, working in the hospital, I was reading an article. Well, yeah, I was reading an article, and they were talking about in the comment section how the hospital is like a cover up. And I was like, okay, so they know something. Like, this is not just a patient. This is a worker, or somebody that has a family member that works in the hospital, because a lot of things are swept under the rug in the hospital. Is hush hush. We all know how it is. And so, you know, you just the smart people, use their thinking skills and stay the hell out the way. And we stay the hell out the way. We ain't getting involved in that, Cause see, you ain't gonna have me go down. Cause my critical thinking skills says that this ain't right, or this don't make sense. But I'm not gonna go down listening to you. So, like, there are times where you have the ability to see things, like in the patient's record, and you get to, but you don't, because you don't want your name nowhere on it. That's using your critical thinking skills. You don't want your name on none of that, because it's gonna get ugh. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to use it. You have to use it when you're making a judgment call, as far as on multitasking. One of the things that we do in the hospital is we multitask. Like, that is what we do all day. We multitask. That is critical thinking. What comes first? So I'm gonna give you an example. So when we would have the student secretaries. So we would have the student secretaries, and basically it was a school, like a college. No, I think it was a high school, not too far away, and they would prepare the kids to work in the medical field. So they would rotate semesters. So every semester they would rotate and do different things. So one semester they will work as CNAs, and then the next semester they'll work as secretaries, and the next semester they do, I don't know, they just did stuff, okay? And so of course when they worked as secretaries, just to see what it's like, in entering, or I would train them like they were a secretary. Like, I was training a new person. That's what I did, and they could run it when I wasn't there. And one of the things, and now every now and then, because they will come in, the semester is what, September to December. So they would come in around in August, September. So yeah, they probably come around September, and they would come Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays for like a few hours. And every now and then we had a new secretary. So there would be the student secretaries and the new secretaries, like, that work for the hospital. And there would be times that I was the only one. So, like, we had the ICU, and then we had our sister floor. Well, there was no one on the sister floor, okay? So I got to do both floors. And I'm training. And I got a student secretary. So each floor had one. So we had one in the ICU. So we would have a student secretary in ICU, and we would have a student secretary on our sister floor. And then if they had a new secretary, because the new secretaries always went upstairs, because we held it downstairs. We ain't had no new secretaries. They will go upstairs. So here I am. Here I am training the new secretary on our sister floor, and then here come the student secretaries, right? So the one that was supposed to be on our sister floor will be up there, and then the student secretary that was in the ICU, sometimes they would stay down there and just fill in, because I wasn't down there. I can't be in two places at once, so they at least gonna fill in for at least a few hours because I trained them well. Do you understand? And so, like, the only thing they can't do, they can't get into computers, but they can answer the phones, they open the door, they can, they can help, they can run stuff to the lab, they can do, because I trained them. And then the student secretary that was on our sister floor, because see, I'm on the sister floor. That's where I'm at. So, because I'm training a new secretary. And then you got the student hub. Y'all, when I tell you I ran it like a well-oiled machine up in there, I had I had the new secretary at the desk answering the phone and the call light. She was on the computer. She was on the computer, like under her name, and she was answering the call light. Okay, and then I had the student secretary sitting because the way the nurse's station was, it was like a a desk and then like a space and then like some more desks, like nurse's station desks. And then I had the student secretary on under my name because the only time they can get in computers under someone. So I would have it under my name, and then they could look at the computer as well and see the orders because now half the time they couldn't do nothing because they weren't trained like the one downstairs was the one I trained. Okay, so they really could barely do nothing. But anyway, so I had them under my name. Only thing they can really do is answer the phone because they couldn't look in the chart and look in the orders, and they couldn't do none of that because I had them trained where they were ordering stuff like that. Don't play with me. But anyway, so I had the new secretary over here, and then I had the student secretary over here, and I'm sitting in the middle representing. Because I'm watching both of them. Okay, don't play with me. Okay, and then the other one is downstairs because I trained her or him. I think it was a girl. Okay, don't play with me. Okay, I had all three of them. Look, I had to use my critical thinking skills. And matter of fact, I think because when the student secretary came, I said, well, can you go and get the telestrips because the telestrips were on another floor, and they didn't even know where to go get them at because the ones up there ain't trained them to do nothing. So the one that I trained, now we don't in the ICU we don't go get telestrips because they're there. We print them out because we monitoring the patients. We different, but they knew how to go get them because I trained them. Okay, so the student secretary from downstairs came upstairs to go show the student secretary for upstairs how to go get the strips. We downstairs. How did she know that? Because I trained her. That's why. And so I kept them all busy. I don't y'all. I handled all three of them. Okay, I had one that wasn't even up there with me, and I knew what she was doing because I trained her. And then I'm training the secretary, and I'm training this other student hub, and they couldn't do nothing because they ain't know they didn't train them. They just I'm like, what you? I was like, what you do up here? Just sit up here and look at people? Like he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh Lord, because I'm gonna put you to work. Okay, you ain't gonna be sitting here embarrassing me. That's what you ain't gonna do. Okay. So you know, but yeah, that's critical thinking skill. I had to because I'm like, okay, I'm training the one. Here come the student. I ain't gonna have the student just sitting here. You know what I'm saying? And I had to make that judgment call. So the new one, she was on the computer answering the call light. The other one was on the computer, but they were answering the phones. And that's what it was. And then the one downstairs, she was downstairs handling it. And that's what I did. I mean, you can't touch my skills. People are they love because I remember when I first trained a student secretary, and they were like, I was told one day because that's when I was on the main floor, so that's how long they've been doing it for years. And they was like, Jackie, because they was telling me about the one because the very first one was a guy. I forgot what he wanted to be. I think he wanted to be a surgeon. I, I think he wanted to be a surgeon, or was it the girl? I can't remember which one. I've had boys and girls, and they was like, Jackie, you trained him so well because it was one day that I was off because I worked the weekends, and Well, let me rephrase that. I, yeah, because it might, I might have worked that Tuesday. I think I always worked Tuesday, and then every other weekend. And so I probably came in like that Friday, and they were like, Jackie, he was here yesterday, and you trained him so well, because he handled it. And I was like, yeah. And that was my very first one. That's when I like this the very first one. So that was my first time being a secretary. I trained him very well. Thank you. Yeah, he handled it because I mean he couldn't get in the computer, but he could do everything else. He represented because I trained him. I don't think them other ones. I don't think any of them. I'm trying to think. Was I the only one that trained them? I must have been, but I don't know how I could have been because the other ones would have been there. So, but yeah, I trained him because they had no secretary that day. I was off, and then whoever was supposed to be there called off, which was very rare. But when he came in, he helped them because they only had one secretary, and she was on the other side, and he helped them. And they were like, "You trained him so well." I was like, "Oh, thank you." Oh yeah, because I'm other heifers. but anyway, but anyway, but yeah, that's those are some examples I have of having good critical thinking skills. You have to have attention to detail. If you need clarification on things, because sometimes you can't really make a decision or a judgment if you don't have clarification on what is being asked or what is needed. Um, you got to have good decision making, and you got to be able to identify patterns. So it's just some things that if you feel you don't have good critical thinking skills that you can work on, because there's always ways to get better. But like if you see a pattern of something, every time this happens. And I think that's one of the ways you become more proactive, because you do see the patterns. If you recognize that every time this happens. Every time this lady works, this happens. Every time she doesn't work, this happens. We have, you like when like knowing who are the better secretaries. I mean, not I'm sorry, not better secretaries, better nurses. Do you understand? Because you will notice a pattern on certain things. When this person work is always chaos. We've had somebody like that. Was it a charge nurse? Every time a charge nurse works, it's always chaos. Do you understand? Like you'll notice patterns. So then you identify patterns, and then that way you can make better judgments on the facts. Every time this person works, it's always chaos. Every time this person is in charge, it's always chaos. Pay attention. Pay attention. So if you got any comments, you can put them below. You can also follow me on my blog. It's Jamie Reed Booklist, where I talk about being a secretary. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.